Number 10. Justin Timberlake and Elisha Wainwright. Justin Timberlake and Elisha Wainwright made headlines when they were spotted holding hands during a night out in New Orleans. The two actors were shooting the movie Palmer, which is a drama about an ex-college football star who returns home after being in prison. The co-stars were photographed together getting cozy at a bar in Louisiana, sitting at a table holding hands and talking to one another. The photos showed Justin, who didn't appear to be wearing his wedding ring, holding hands with the actress under a table and drinking together. At one point, Elisha could be seen resting her hand on the singer's knee, and while he was standing up, putting his arm around her waist. The photos caused a huge scandal because he's been married to Jessica Biel since 2012. Their relationship was really being tested, and Justin had to make a public statement the following month, apologizing for his strong lapse in judgment, and claimed that despite the photos, nothing happened between him and his co-star. Number 9. LeAnn Rimes and Eddie Cibrian. This affair was not exactly unique. In fact, it's a story so common in Hollywood that it borders on cliche. The actors were co-stars who met on the set of a Lifetime movie called Northern Lights. They immediately hit it off and the flirting began. But the kicker was that they were both already married at the time to other people. But hey, in classic Hollywood fashion, they didn't let that stop them, and not long after meeting, they were photographed having dinner together, and the rumor mill did the rest. After extreme press coverage of the affair, both LeAnn and Eddie decided to make it official and separated from their respective spouses to be with each other. They eventually ended up tying the knot in 2011, but the story doesn't entirely end there. A few years later, Eddie was caught cheating on LeAnn at Wendy Williams' 50th birthday party, but she claims she's unfazed by the whole thing and doesn't seem to mind if he flirts with other women. You know what they say, sometimes how you get them is how you lose them too. Number 8. Helena Bonham Carter and Kenneth Branagh. The two are believed to have begun their secret relationship on the set of the film Frankenstein in 1994, which Kenneth played the lead role and Helena played Frankenstein's adopted sister, Elizabeth. At the time, he had been married to Emma Thompson for 8 years, who was adored by fans. The two were even dubbed the golden couple by the British press, and seemingly had the perfect marriage, which is why the affair caused a massive scandal that rocked tabloids across the nation. They split in 1995, and years later, Emma has admitted that her tearful scenes in Love Actually were so persuasive because she had had her heart broken very badly by Kenneth. It was a little awkward because both actresses had to work together in the Harry Potter films, with Helena playing Bellatrix and Emma playing Professor Trelawney. But in 2013, she revealed that the two had made their peace years ago, and that the divorce was all blood under the bridge. But Emma even joked that she and her Harry Potter co-star were both slightly mad and a little bit fashion challenged, and she said, quote, "Perhaps that's why Ken loved us both." Number 7. Abby Cornish and Ryan Philippe. The actor first met Reese Witherspoon while starring alongside her in the 1999 movie Cruel Intentions. They actually fell so in love with each other that they ended up getting married that same year. But all good things must come to an end, especially Hollywood romances, and in 2008, Ryan started to get closer to his new co-star, Australian actress Abby Cornish, while they were filming the movie Stop Loss. The two of them seemed to be so comfortable being seen in public together that they were eventually caught having dinner together in a Texas restaurant, despite the fact that there were some curtains around the table. They were also caught together again just outside of Ryan's apartment. The affair was so in your face, it really wasn't funny. But it wasn't until Reese discovered intimate messages back and forth that were being exchanged between the two of them on his phone. Then it was clear that after 7 years of marriage and 2 children, Reese was ready to call it quits with Ryan, and later went on to marry talent agent Jim Toth, whilst Ryan and Abby's love affair eventually lost its spark. Number 6. Kerry Russell and Matthew Rhys. The actors played secret KGB agents and love interests on the FX spy drama The Americans. The romance between the two sparked while on set, but there was just one problem. At the time, Kerry was still married to Shane Deary, with whom she had 2 kids. The two leads play like Mr. and Mrs. Smith, and so naturally, many believe their steamy scenes were indicative of a real-life romance. At the time though, they both heavily denied it. When talking about their sex scenes, Matthew said, quote, "We've all done a million of them in this crazy life we sign up for." He said that eventually the clinical element of it kicks in, which sort of takes away from that embarrassment. But it's obvious that there was really something going on, as the two of them were shopping for furniture together at Christmas in 2013. Not long after, Kerry parted ways with her now ex-husband. Unlike most cheating scandals though, this one seemed to turn out quite well, as Kerry, Matthew and Shane reportedly go on vacations together and frequently dine out as friends. Not only that, but in 2016, Kerry and Matthew Matthew welcomed their first child together and became a blended family. Number 5. Tori Spelling and Dean McDermott. The Beverly Hills 90210 star and her husband, Dean McDermott, have been making headlines since their scandalous start. The two actors met on the set of Lifetime's Mind Over Murder in 2005, only a year after Spelling married her first husband, Charlie Shanahan. Dean was also married at the time for more than a decade to Mary Jo Eustace, with whom he shares a son. Tori and Dean began cheating on their spouses the night they met. In fact, she wrote about the affair in her 2009 memoir, quote, "It was love at first sight. I fell so hard. Then I noticed he had a wedding ring. When someone asked, he pulled out photos of his children, and oh yeah, I had a husband too." Yeah, there's no making that sound better. She went on to say that the couple ended up spending the night together despite the fact that they were both married. And she knew it was meant to be because when she woke up next to Dean the following day, she said she had no regrets. The two married and went on to have 4 children together before yet another cheating scandal rocked their relationship in 2013, this time with Dean and the nanny. Number 4. Kate Hudson and Owen Wilson. The Hollywood stars had a massive cheating scandal while filming the 2006 comedy You, Me and Dupree, most likely because Kate was married to rock musician Chris Robinson for 6 years when she met Owen. The actors had a wild affair that lasted only 6 months, but it was definitely long enough to ruin Kate's relationship with her husband forever. Amid the rumors of infidelity, the Black Crowes singer ended up filing for divorce from Hudson in November 2006, citing irreconcilable differences and seeking joint custody of their then 2-year-old son Ryder. A month after the film opened in July, Kate and Owen were confirmed to be officially dating. But the affair didn't seem to stack up to anything, as the couple's relationship was short-lived, and they broke up less than a year later. As the public started to turn against the actress, she countered the speculation by telling Harper's Bazaar that's not what happened. But looking back at the 2006 press tour, it was pretty obvious that something was happening between them, because it got kind of inappropriate. Owen asked her about wearing a bikini in the film and whether she and her husband have ever had a third wheel experience. Number 3. Humphrey Bogart and Lauren Bacall. Many Hollywood romances have started on screen and bled into the real lives of the actors involved. The most iconic has to be that of Humphrey Bogart and Lauren Bacall. The two engaged in a scandalous affair after meeting on the set of To Have and Have Not back in 1944. Bacall was only 19 when she first met Bogart, who was already an acclaimed Hollywood star and 25 years older than her. But that wasn't the only issue. At the time, Bogart was married to actress Mayo Methot, but their relationship was reportedly falling apart. Bacall confessed in her 1978 memoir that there was no clap of thunder or lightning bolt moment when she first laid eyes on him in 1943, but the actors became close on the set when she was nervous about the production and turned to her co-star for support. Just 3 weeks into filming, the pair shared their first kiss in her dressing room after a day of filming, and he asked her for her phone number, which she famously scribbled on the back of a matchbook. After that, they began meeting in secret places and using their on-screen names to disguise their identities. Bogart eventually divorced his wife in 1945 and married Bacall just 11 days later. Number 2. Sienna Miller and Daniel Craig. Scandal erupted in 2005 when Sienna Miller's confession of love to Daniel Craig was publicly broadcast to the world, while she was still married to Jude Law. The two were co-stars in the 2004 film Layer Cake with Sienna, and at some point the two got a little bit closer than they did on screen. But how did the news of the affair get out? Well, that's the tricky part. A journalist hacked Daniel's voicemail, retrieving a message that came from Sienna's phone number. Both parties tried to discredit the audio tape at first, but when the hearing took place for the hacking trial, it was proven to be authentic. Sienna tried to play it off and told the court that she always ended phone calls saying "I love you," insisting it wasn't some huge declaration of love. She denied that the message meant she was in a relationship with Daniel, but she did admit to the court that they were briefly involved. Jude reportedly learned of his wife's affair from the newspaper story and called Daniel to confront him, because the two used to be close friends. Talk about messy. And coming in at number 1, Meg Ryan and Russell Crowe. In the 90s, Meg Ryan had a squeaky clean image thanks to her role as a leading lady in many rom-coms like When Harry Met Sally and Sleepless in Seattle. But her reputation took a huge hit when it emerged that she cheated on her then husband, Dennis Quaid, with her co-star Russell Crowe. Meg and Dennis had been married for 9 years and already shared a son together when she met Russell on the set of the 2000 thriller Proof of Life, and the pair had instant chemistry. But the affair reportedly caused awkwardness amongst the cast and crew, as the actress didn't even appear on the press tour because she was so worried that they would be asking her about it. In fact, the film's director Taylor Hackford blamed the cheating scandal scandal for the film being a flop at the box office. Meg was publicly shamed, especially after she and Dennis officially announced their separation, because it allegedly put too much strain on their marriage. When she began dating her co-star, it really changed the public's perception of her as the quirky rom-com lead. In fact, she told The Guardian in 2003, quote, "I was all over the tabloids and I walked through the lobby and the place stopped. People stopped talking and stared at me." Goes to show you how sensational the affair was at the time.
First up on the list is a stunt pulled by Marlon Brando that is just as topical today as it was back in the early 1970s, 1973 to be exact. While Marlon Brando isn't the first person to decline their Oscar for various reasons, his snubbing of the ceremony following his iconic role in The Godfather was certainly one of the most memorable. Brando was considered a shoo-in for the winner of Best Actor, and he had already taken home the Best Actor statue once before for his role in the 1955 movie On the Waterfront. However, despite what many would consider this to be a huge honor for the actor, he decided to not even attend the ceremony. Instead, he sent Native American actor and activist Sahin Littlefeather on stage to decline the award on his behalf. He did it in protest of the way that Native Americans have been treated in the United States. The 1973 awards were the first time that the show had been broadcast internationally, and over 85 million people watched Littlefeather's passionate speech, which came just a month into the standoff between Native American activists and the cops after police killed a Lakota man at the Wounded Knee Reserve in South Dakota. Next up on the list is the 1974 Academy Awards ceremony, when an English teacher named Robert Opel stripped down and ran on stage while Elizabeth Taylor was being introduced for an award. So Robert ran on stage completely naked and sprinted around for a bit. After the stunt had occurred, the host at the time quipped, quote, "Well, ladies and gentlemen, that was almost bound to happen." But isn't it fascinating to think that probably the only laugh that man will ever get in his life is by stripping off and showing his shortcomings? Luckily for Opel, he was able to evade arrest, probably because everyone thought the stunt was hilarious. Instead, he was invited backstage to explain himself. Turns out the streaking was part of Opel's commentary on the way society has become too conformist. Opel, who owned a Los Angeles gallery known for showcasing homoerotic art, also streaked at the Los Angeles City Council meeting. Next up on the list is a horrifyingly cringy musical number that actor Rob Lowe did with a Snow White impersonator. This happened during the 1989 Oscars, which was considered a year of many firsts. The first time the ceremony used the famous red carpet, first time the term, quote, "and the Oscar goes to" was used, and the first time the show didn't have a host. Instead of a host opening the awards, it was Rob Lowe and Snow White singing an 11-minute version of Tina Turner's track Proud Mary, with the lyrics tweaked to fit the show's theme. The performance was super awkward and cringy, but the scandal part comes from it also being illegal. The performance prompted Disney Studios to file a copyright infringement lawsuit against the Academy for using Snow White's image without permission. On top of that, a group of 17 heavyweight actors wrote in to write a scathing letter to the Academy, calling the performance an embarrassment to the people who were nominated. Yikes. Next on the list is the Oscars that took place in the year 2000. After winning Best Supporting Actress for her role in Girl Interrupted, Angelina Jolie and her brother James Haven shocked the crowd super uncomfortably when they locked lips at the Vanity Fair after-party. During her acceptance speech for the role, Jolie shouted out her brother with the equally uncomfortable line, quote, "I'm in shock and I'm so in love with my brother right now. He just held me and said he loved me, and I know he's so happy for me, and thank you for that." The kiss immediately sparked headlines, which Jolie called pathetic. She later said that the siblings had been visiting their mother, who had cancer, in the hospital that day, and the kiss and declaration of love had just been part of her reaction to the day's emotional ups and downs. Next up on the docket is the time that Bjork made international headlines for her bizarre and iconic dress at the 2001 Academy Awards ceremony. While the dress certainly made a statement on its own, the quirky artist took it one step further by pretending to lay an egg on the red carpet. She had a bunch of ostrich eggs and she just left them all over the red carpet, and reportedly also left one in the women's bathroom while inside the ceremony. Her outfit was so memorable that it is now a part of an exhibit at the Museum of Modern Art. Next on the list is the 2003 Oscars, and more specifically when Michael Moore took to the stage after his win for the Best Documentary category. While we've all heard the music start to kick up when the acceptance speech goes on for a tad too long, Michael Moore was well within his time slot when he had to be cut off. That's because, like the political commentator he is, he directly attacked George W. Bush for the unnecessary invasion of Iraq. Quote, "We live in a time where we have a man sending us to a war for fictitious reasons. Shame on you, Mr. Bush, shame on you." He was met with boos from the audience and was quickly played off stage. Ironic, honestly, especially when Michael Moore was criticizing presidents long before it was okay to do so, and the same people who booed him off stage ribbed future presidents at other award shows. Just shows the shallowness of the whole thing. Next up is the 2015 Oscars, when John Travolta hopped onto the Oscar stage to introduce Idina Menzel, who voiced Princess Elsa in the Disney Frozen movie. People were obsessed with Frozen during this time, and it instantly became a classic in the Disney canon. The Frozen song Let It Go had been nominated for Best Original Song, which meant that Idina would be performing the song for the ceremony. When John Travolta was set to introduce her, he inexplicably said, quote, "The wickedly talented, one and only Adele Dazeem." Travolta later said that seconds before he was set to go on stage, he ran into Goldie Hawn and missed the announcement that the producers had changed the spelling of Menzel's name on the teleprompter to a phonetic version that was supposed to be easier to pronounce. Luckily, Menzel was a pretty good sport about the whole thing. She reunited with Travolta at the next year's ceremony. Next up is the infamous 2017 Best Picture announcement mix-up. At the very end of the ceremony, Faye Dunaway and Warren Beatty took to the stage to reveal the night's big-ticket Best Picture winner. All was going smoothly until Beatty went to read the winner. He looked noticeably confused, and some wondered if he was having a hard time seeing the teleprompter. He held the card out to Dunaway, who assumed he was changing up the script and allowing her to read out the winner. She announced La La Land, and the cast and crew filed on stage to celebrate. Backstage, Academy accountants from PricewaterhouseCoopers sprung into action and alerted production that the wrong envelope had been given and that Moonlight actually had won Best Picture. Stage managers scurried on stage to correct the gaffe. So what happened? Turns out Beatty had been handed an extra Best Actress envelope, which had gone to Emma Stone from La La Land, instead of the one labeled Best Picture. A production error earlier in the day meant that they had run out of time to rehearse the last few awards prior to showtime, which could have contributed to the mistake. Oopsies. Next on the list is the 2020 Oscars, where the much-deserving film Parasite had just been announced as the Best Picture of the year. It marked the first time that a non-English language film took home the top honor. When the cast and crew headed on stage to accept the award, which was one of the 6 the movie won through the night, co-producer Kok Sin-ae first took the mic and spoke for 45 seconds before turning things over to Mikey Lee, the film's other producer. But before Lee got to deliver her speech, the lights went down on the stage and cameras focused on Jane Fonda, who was slated to deliver the night's closing remarks. The audience was instantly outraged, and stars like Tom Hanks and Charlize Theron, who were sitting in the front row, started chanting "Up, up" to persuade the showrunners to turn the attention back to Parasite. Luckily, the cheers worked and Lee was able to deliver her remarks, but it didn't stop tons of outrage from coming out in reaction to the rude dismissal. And now, finally, we come to the Oscars that were literally just held a few days ago with another big scandal. As Chris Rock took to the stage to present the award for Best Documentary, the comedian made a few jabs at Hollywood and its actors. One such jab was toward Jada Pinkett Smith, who suffers from alopecia. Basically, it was a joke aimed at her being bald, to which Jada's husband, Will Smith obviously, rushes the stage and slaps the words right out of Chris Rock's mouth. Chris was obviously super shocked, and Will Smith sat back in his seat but shouted back at Chris not to talk badly on his wife. Everyone in the crowd was super stunned, obviously. A fight has never broken out on the Oscars stage before. And it was just super sweet chicken soup for my middle-class soul.
At number 10, Lil Nas X. Last year, Lil Nas X made a lot of headlines. He released a new album, rocked red carpets, but also got himself into quite scandal as well. On March 26, 2021, Lil Nas X released his song Montero, or Call Me By Your Name, and both the song and subsequent music video was hit with a lot of backlash. The song included some adult themes, obviously, but the majority of the backlash for this release came from the rapper's music video. The video had a heaven and hell theme and included Nas dancing for the devil, so to speak. A lot of people didn't like the video because of how raunchy it was and because of the biblical imagery and themes. But as if that wasn't enough backlash, Nas also got into some pretty big trouble when he released a collaborative shoe with Mischief that they called the Satan shoe. These sneakers were a redesign of the Nike Air Max 97s, and because this design wasn't authorized by Nike, Nas and Mischief got in trouble. They also faced backlash for putting, quote, a single drop of human blood in the sole of the shoe. For a couple of weeks, Nas faced all kinds of backlash, but he didn't let that knock him down. He remained pretty unfazed by the whole thing and bounced back from the scandal with no problem, but for a couple of weeks there, he was definitely Twitter's #1 enemy. At number 9, David Dobrik. YouTuber and former Viner David Dobrik is one of YouTube's biggest creators, but last year he got royally cancelled. Other than being super popular on the platform with over 18 million subscribers, he's found success in Hollywood as well, as he's been cast on a few TV shows as a host and judge on a few game shows. However, this past year, David's popularity started to fall and his praise turned into scrutiny after people started coming forward with allegations against David. Former members of David's YouTube friend group called the Vlog Squad have come forward calling David out for bullying and creating a toxic environment, as well as orchestrating pranks that resulted in one friend getting hurt. On top of that, a former fan came forward naming a Vlog Squad member as a person who hurt them while they were under the influence, and also called David out for filming part of their alleged incident. Because of David's content, he caused a lot of controversy, emotional pain, and distress, and he's only recently bounced back from the drama that he faced in 2021. Before we carry on talking about some of the biggest scandals from 2021, why not take a moment to leave a like on this video if you're enjoying it so far, and while you're at it, consider subscribing to the channel to see more videos like this one. At number 8, Armie Hammer. I'm sure you guys are all familiar with this scandal by now, but this one had to be on this list because it was the first one that really blew up in 2021. Back in January of 2021, some of Armie's private messages with other women came to light, depicting the actor in a not so flattering way. The messages leaked by the Instagram page House of Effie exposed the actor for his bedroom fantasies, amongst other adult things, and this created a huge snowball effect that led to multiple people coming forward with their own allegations. Things took a serious turn, and soon an investigation was launched to look into some of the claims made by some of Armie's alleged victims. Because of this scandal and its severity, this took a huge toll on Armie and his career. As we know, no one is quick to forget a scandal like this in Hollywood, so as a result of the drama and allegations against him, Armie started losing everything that he worked for, including movie roles and representation in the industry. No one knows what the next step is for him, or even if there is a way for him to salvage his career. At number 7, Marilyn Manson. Another really huge scandal that happened last year came from singer Marilyn Manson, and it caused a lot of drama in Hollywood and the music industry. It all started when his ex-partner, actress Evan Rachel Wood, came forward in an Instagram post calling Manson out as someone who had harmed her for a long time. In her statement, Evan cited how manipulative Marilyn was, accusing him of brainwashing her and telling her fans how Manson had caused her mental, physical, and emotional pain. This caused even more people to come forward later on, including Game of Thrones actress Esme Bianco, who came forward with some of the horrible encounters that she had with Manson. Following this scandal, Manson was dropped from his music label, and the LA County Sheriff's Department began an investigation looking into some of the allegations against the singer. At number 6, DaBaby. Last year, rapper DaBaby caused a big uproar in the LGBTQ+ community. He got into quite the controversy after he said some pretty offensive things while on stage performing at Rolling Loud in Miami. While on stage, the rapper made offensive comments about the gay community as well as HIV and AIDS, calling it a, quote, deadly sexually transmitted disease that'll make you die in 2-3 weeks, unquote. He also went on to say some more homophobic things about gay men that also added fuel to the fire. Celebrities like Dua Lipa and Elton John condemned the rapper's comments and tried to take the rapper's cancellation as an opportunity to educate the public on what DaBaby said, how it's wrong, and also put an effort into trying to educate the public specifically on HIV and AIDS to put the stigma spread by DaBaby's comments to rest. Because of the scandal, the rapper was cancelled, faced massive backlash, and lost a lot of support as well. At number 5, Piers Morgan. Piers Morgan had a lot to say about the Meghan Markle and Prince Harry interview with Oprah that became one of the biggest bombshells of last year. During the interview, secrets were revealed, confessions were given, and it gave a lot of people a lot to discuss. One of the things that was picked apart by a lot of people were Meghan's comments on her mental health before they split from the royal family. Meghan said that she was really depressed and had thoughts of taking her own life. Piers Morgan decided to pick her comments on her mental health apart and said that in his opinion he, quote, didn't believe a word that Meghan said. He criticized Meghan's mental health, and a lot of people saw that as going too far. As a result, Pierce and the network he worked for faced mass scrutiny for saying such a thing about someone's mental health, as it was seen as diminishing and deflecting the severity of such a thought as taking your own life. Because of the backlash he faced, Pierce announced that he would be leaving the network, but that he still doesn't believe Meghan's claim, saying, quote, "Freedom of speech is a hill I am happy to die on," end quote. At number 4, Chris Noth. This next scandal was one of the last ones to occur in 2021. Sex and the City actor Chris Noth has been faced with allegations of inappropriate contact, and he's already started to lose a lot. This scandal is still developing because it's so recent, but so far other former Sex and the City co-stars have come forward to support the alleged victims. As for his career, he's been fired from his role on the CBS show The Equalizer, effective immediately. As he goes into this new year with this scandal, who knows how the year will pan out for him. At number 3, Chris Harrison. With every season of The Bachelor or Bachelorette, there's at least one scandal, but last year things were a little different because a pretty serious scandal broke and it led to someone losing their job. The show's longtime host Chris Harrison landed himself into some hot water last year after he started facing backlash for the comments he made about one of the contestants' past. At the beginning of the Bachelor season in early 2021, photos of one of the Bachelor contestants were leaked, which showed her in a few compromising situations, specifically of her attending an antebellum-themed party, and many fans saw this as highly offensive and racist. When the scandal first broke, a conversation was obviously sparked, but when asked about his take on the situation, Chris ended up offending some people as he responded saying that it was in the past. In an interview on Extra with former Bachelor/Bachelorette contestant Rachel Lindsay, when asked about this contestant's controversial photos, Chris was seemingly dismissive of her actions of her being at this party, and he continued to try and defend his stance, saying that he didn't want to make any comments before the contestant in question had spoken out first. Instead of helping the situation, fans of the show saw this as perpetrating racism, and so he was cancelled. As a result of this drama, Chris was let go from the show and hasn't really been seen much in the media since. At number 2, Gina Carano. Actress Gina Carano, known for her role on the Disney Plus series The Mandalorian, was exposed and cancelled for her old Twitter posts. Last year, Gina began to face massive backlash for her social media posts that exposed her ideals and opinions that many people took offense to. Though there were a few posts that garnered a lot of negative attention, such as her comments on putting your pronouns in your social media bio, the one that was seemingly the last straw for her career was a post that compared being a Republican to being a victim of the horrors from World War II, saying that Republicans are being persecuted because of their political beliefs. A lot of people took offense to this, and this led to even more backlash and to her getting exposed for her unpopular opinions. Other posts that caused Gina to face scrutiny include her tweets about voter fraud in the US, as well as posts mocking people who wear masks amidst the pandemic. Because of the scandal and all of the negative press Gina was getting, she was promptly fired from The Mandalorian and hasn't been seen much since. And finally, at number 1, Travis Scott. Travis faced a lot of backlash in the last few weeks of 2021 after the tragedy that occurred at his Astroworld concert. The rapper's performance ended in tragedy as the chaos that ensued during the concert left multiple people dead and hundreds injured. 10 people lost their lives due to the events that unfolded, and many others are still recovering from their injuries, as well as the families of those affected still trying to cope with everything that happened with their loved ones. There is a lot of footage circling the internet showing what happened that night and the madness that occurred during the performance, with people showing the crowds of people and some fans yelling "Stop the show." After the incident, we found out that the Houston police chief actually warned Travis about crowd control prior to the event, expressing his concerns for public safety. After people found this out, Travis started facing even more backlash, as fans said that if the rapper really listened to this warning, these casualties could have been avoided. Travis has spoken out several times on the matter, but each time he makes a statement, it seems to make the whole situation worse for him, which certainly is not helping his career or fame.
Number 10, 8 Passengers. The Franks have nearly 2.5 million subscribers on their channel, which follows the lives of Kevin and Ruby and their 6 children. But the 8 Passengers found themselves in the middle of a tidal wave of rumors and accusations about their family in 2020, when Ruby posted a video featuring her then 15-year-old son Chad, who admitted something that would go on to be a particularly contentious issue for viewers. He casually explained that he lost his room after playing pranks on his little brother. Quote, "My bedroom was taken away for 7 months. I was sleeping on a beanbag since October." His admission sparked accusations allegations of mistreatment, neglect, and even a visit from Child Protective Services. This led fans to take a deep dive into their past videos, and eventually found out that their then 6-year-old daughter Eve had gone to school one day without lunch because it was her responsibility to make it in the morning, which she forgot to do. The situation only escalated further when other YouTubers caught wind of the drama and made their own videos criticizing Ruby and Frank for their parenting style, which is why the channel remains so controversial to this day. Number 9. The LeBrant family. Cole and Savannah LeBrant are a wholesome, blonde Christian couple with perfect highlights and over 6 million YouTube subscribers. But the internet's collective outrage against them really seemed to boil down to two separate incidents. In 2018, the couple came under fire for allegedly faking an evacuation during the California wildfires. They made a viral video called "A Giant Fire Makes Us Evacuate Our House," which garnered widespread sympathy from their fans, but only at first. When people did some digging, they found out that their location was not listed as an evacuation area for the fires, and their neighbors even came out saying the family's home was never in danger, and that the video was intentionally misleading, and said that they were exploiting a serious situation for views. But that wasn't all. In 2021, the LeBrant family posted a video with a thumbnail of their 2-year-old daughter Posey in hospital with the caption, "She got diagnosed with cancer." In the vlog, the couple said that they were worried that their daughter had leukemia because she would often wake up with pain in her legs. But halfway through the vlog, they revealed that she did not in fact have cancer, but called the whole thing a health scare. The video was slammed for its clickbait title, and the family has not been able to rid themselves of the controversy since. Number 8. Sam and Nia. This YouTube family has certainly been involved in their fair share of scandals. In 2015, Sam Rader admitted to reports that he had an account on Ashley Madison, the dating website for people seeking to have affairs. He posted a confession video saying, "I have sought forgiveness from God, and He has forgiven me, so I have been completely cleansed of this sin." But there was going to be a lot more trouble in Christian paradise. In 2018, the couple posted a viral video of Sam surprising his wife with her own pregnancy. He claimed that he just had a feeling that she might be pregnant and took it upon himself to test her unflushed urine from inside the toilet. The result was a viral video that quickly amassed millions of views. But then only a few days later, they posted an emotional video called "Our Baby Had a Heartbeat," claiming that Nia had suffered a miscarriage. But fans grew suspicious of the method that Sam used to administer the pregnancy test, and BuzzFeed News published an article with expert opinions revealing that it was not actually possible to get an accurate pregnancy test using diluted pee in a toilet bowl. Sam eventually admitted that the couple never confirmed their pregnancy with a doctor, and what ensued was a scandal so huge that their reputation has not recovered. Number 7. Daddy05. The family channel once capitalized on the trend of outrageous, shock value prank videos, with the parents Heather and Mike Martin filming the so-called pranks they pulled on their 5 children. They had a swarm of fans online who loved the wholesome, silly content, until the family took it too far. In 2017, the parents posted a video of them pranking 2 of their children by blaming them for spilling ink on the carpet, even though the parents actually planted the spill. Heather and Mike went way over the top and began screaming and swearing at the 2 young children. The video was shared thousands of times and received immense criticism online, with massive YouTubers like Philip DeFranco making videos exposing them. The whole thing prompted an investigation from Child Protective Services, who put the kids in emergency custody with their biological mother. The couple also faced child negligence charges when their videos were investigated and were sentenced to 5 years of supervised probation, which meant they were no longer allowed to film their children for views. Subsequently, their channel was deleted and their fan base vanished. They've since made numerous attempts to try and get back on the platform, but every time they make a new channel, YouTube is really quick to delete it. Number 6. Ryan's Toy Reviews. The channel, which is now called Ryan's World, is arguably one of the most popular family YouTube channels for kids. It has 3.3 million subscribers and now has more than 40 billion views, and has become the cornerstone of a shockingly lucrative kidfluencer empire. In 2019, Forbes named the now 10-year-old Ryan the highest earning YouTube streamer of any age for the 2nd year in a row. But while the success of the channel grew, so did its various controversies. But most notably, Shion and Luann Kaji have faced various accusations of misleading preschoolers into watching ads by not disclosing their sponsorship deals. In fact, the content at first glance is considered wholesome, kid-friendly fun, with little Ryan unboxing cool new toys, but has allegedly raked in its profits under something called deceptive native advertising, which relies on product placement that young children are not able to distinguish between commercial and genuine content, which is actually actually a violation of Federal Trade Commission law. Complaints were filed against the channel, accusing Cheyenne and Loan of deceptively promoting a multitude of products to millions of preschool-aged children, which really calls into question the ethics of creating that kind of content in the first place. Number 5. Nikki Phillippi. The YouTuber with 1.23 million subscribers typically posts family, lifestyle, and Christian content featuring her husband Dan and son Logan, and occasionally the family's dogs. Nikki has been no stranger to backlash, like in March of 2020 when she faced criticism for recommending a vitamin treatment for COVID-19. She published a video titled My Virus Story, where she claimed that she was treated for what her family believed to have been a viral infection with high-dose intravenous vitamin C, and recommended it as a treatment for COVID. That was pretty bad, but fans were livid when Nikki and Dan posted a video sitting on the couch discussing their family dog Bowser, and they revealed that they ended up euthanizing the dog after it bit their son one day. They also tried to play it off as a good thing and explained that Bowser was aggressive and had behavioral issues, but longtime fans of the channel saw no evidence of that in their countless videos. The couple was bombarded with collective anger from the whole internet, considering that many people felt they put down an innocent animal all because of a slight inconvenience. The controversy led Nikki to a social media hiatus and a dwindling subscriber account as the incident completely tarnished their reputation. Number 4. The Prince family. Crowned by the internet as the world's worst YouTube family ever, there is now an active campaign aiming to have their videos removed from the platform. Apart from the over-the-top cringy antics that are somehow both inappropriate while still being aimed at children, they have been accused multiple times of rampant colorism. In 2019, the young mother found herself in a firestorm of social media backlash after she and her husband Damien posted a vlog of their daughter's birth. During the video, which received over 1 million views, the parents can be heard discussing Nova's physical features just moments after she was delivered, with Bianca saying, "She's going to have brown eyes for sure. I thought you were going to have pretty eyes." Bianca seemed visibly disappointed and made several comments about being taken aback that her daughter didn't seem to have pretty eyes because they are brown and not hazel like hers. She then begins asking about the baby's skin and whether or not she'll have a light or dark complexion. When the video blew up, fans criticized their reactions to their own child, and the Prince family capitalized on this drama by doing a follow-up video defending themselves with a clickbait title, all in an attempt to gain more traffic to their page. Number 3. Micah Stauffer. The mum of 5 used to be a mid-level YouTube and Instagram influencer, a mum of 5 whose parenting vlogs and Instagram posts had a loyal following and several high-profile sponsors. But the influencer and her husband James rocketed into mainstream in 2020 when an in-depth BuzzFeed news article exposed one of the biggest controversies in the family vlogging community. It revealed that Stauffers had rehomed their adopted son after they found out he had autism and other developmental issues. In 2017, the adoption of little Huxley from China was painstakingly documented on their channel, and it helped them build and monetize a channel with more than 700,000 followers, many of whom were outraged by the announcement. Eventually, caving to the pressure, Micah spoke out about the controversy and posted a 4-page notes app apology, saying that she was naive and undertrained when she adopted Huxley and was ultimately unprepared to handle the issues that he had. She said, "I wanted to help so bad. I was willing to bring home any child that needed me. For this, I was foolish, naive, and arrogant. I wish so bad I was more prepared and done more." Micah said that Huxley has been moved to a new forever family, which is a really nice way of saying that they unadopted him. Number 2. The Ace family. Arguably one of the biggest family vlog channels on YouTube with 18.8 million subscribers, the Ace family are notorious for frequently being embroiled in controversy after controversy, which has really affected their reputation on the platform. There was a time that they were caught staging a break into their home, and even got their young daughter to react to the fake scenario, and even had a police officer on the scene. Or when they were caught lying about the state of their multi-million-dollar home. In October last year, creditors foreclosed their $10 million mansion after the couple amassed more than $8.7 million in debts. Not only that, but in June of 2018, Catherine and Austin were accused of scamming audiences to increase their subscriber numbers when they posted a video that they would give $100,000 to a subscriber of the Ace family who could complete a basketball challenge, and asked fans to respond if they wanted to be a part of it. Later that same month, they sent out a post saying that they selected 20 basketball players and YouTubers to complete, but they ended up giving the money to a close friend of theirs who also happened to be a wealthy basketball player. And get this, he was not even an official competitor to begin with. So it's no surprise that they've lost so much of their audience over the years, because most most of the scandals that befall them are often a direct result of their own dishonesty. And coming in at number 1, Jordan Cheyenne. At the height of her success, Jordan's YouTube channel had over 500,000 subscribers, and she vlogged about her seemingly perfectly laid-back life in California, mostly about fitness and life as a single parent. She was extremely popular in the influencer community for her girl boss advice and her weight loss meal plans, until she posted the now viral video of her son crying about the death of their family dog, titled "We Are Heartbroken." But she made one terrible mistake and included an unedited clip of her coaching her son Christian to cry for the thumbnail. In the disturbing video, you can see that the child was already very upset and on the verge of tears, and he tells her that he was already crying and didn't need to pretend for the camera, but she felt that he didn't look sad enough and instructed him to make a certain face for the video. Jordan could be heard saying, "Act like you're crying," even after he said, "Mom, I'm actually crying." The backlash Jordan received after the clip went viral was nothing short of biblical. She then scrubbed her social media accounts and deleted her YouTube channel altogether, and has since tried to make a comeback with a fraction of the audience that she used to have. So clearly, she was not able to live it down.
And at number 10, the college admissions scandal. In 2019, the world was shocked to learn that the government had spent years investigating university bribes. The investigation, called Operation Varsity Blues, uncovered that hundreds of parents had paid hundreds of thousands of dollars to ensure their child got into the best schools in America. Even more shocking, some of the parents involved were wealthy celebrities like Felicity Huffman and Lori Loughlin. Huffman admitted to paying $15,000 to up her daughter's SAT scores, issued a public apology, pled guilty, then served 11 days of a 2-week sentence. Lori was accused of paying $500,000 to get her daughters into USC, maintained her innocence, and in 2020 was sentenced to 2 months in prison, while her husband Massimo was sentenced to 5 months. And at number 9, Tristan Thompson cheats on Khloe Kardashian. Usually someone cheating wouldn't be a big enough deal to completely overload social media, but in the case of Tristan and Khloe, the cheating was so outrageous that people could not believe it was really happening. The first time Tristan was exposed for cheating, Khloe was 8 months pregnant with their child, and videos and photos showed him out clubbing with women, and even taking one back to his hotel room. But that was not all. The internet broke once again when it was reported that Tristan cheated on Khloe again, this time with her younger sister Kylie's best friend, Jordan Woods, who was basically a part of the family at that point. Sources said that the NBA star was seen cozying up to Jordan at a party where they made out and were all over each other. After that shocking and embarrassing scandal, Khloe not only dumped Tristan, but Kylie was forced to cut ties with her BFF. And at number 8, Jeffrey Epstein. For years, people have speculated that rich celebrities have private islands where they participate in things that normal people could not even think of. And in 2019, it was exposed that those theories were true, and a good portion of the world's elites had participated in disgusting and illegal conduct while on Jeffrey Epstein's island. During that investigation, we learned that Prince Andrew, Bill Clinton, Donald Trump, and Bill Gates had connections to this island and were documented as friends of Epstein's. The ties to the royal family were the most shocking, and the public was horrified to learn that Epstein and his accomplice, Ghislaine Maxwell, were so close to the royals they actually vacationed at one of the Queen's private residences. As of now, Prince Andrew is being investigated in connection with Epstein, and he's been stripped from the royal family. And at number 7, Jussie Smollett. In 2019, Jussie Smollett claimed that he had been attacked on the streets of Chicago by white Trump supporters, who told him, quote, "This is mega country," put a noose around his neck, and poured a chemical substance on him. Social media was set on fire after the attack and pitted Democrats and Republicans against each other even more than they had been before, especially since the president at the time, Donald Trump, was deemed responsible for the incident. However, months later, it was reported that the entire thing was a lie, and he was never actually attacked like he claimed. Jussie was arrested and later charged by the Chicago Police Department for giving them false information. Jussie was then indicted on 16 felony charges, and in 2020 he was indicted on 6 more charges. He has been found guilty on all the charges, although he still claims he is not lying. And at number 6, Kylie Jenner's pregnancy. Nothing broke the internet quite like when Kylie Jenner posted a video to YouTube sharing that she had been pregnant for the last 9 months and kept it entirely secret. Not only was she pregnant, but her daughter Stormi was born before the release of the video. Rumors had been swirling that she was pregnant, and it seemed likely because Kylie stayed at home way more than usual during this time, clearly hiding something from the world. In an Instagram post, Kylie apologized for keeping everyone in the dark, but said that she wanted to keep her pregnancy to herself in order to truly enjoy that time. For her second pregnancy, Kylie did not keep it hidden and shared tons of photos and videos with fans. Some fans were even convinced that she had already given birth to her second child and was keeping it hidden because of the Astroworld tragedy. But after the recent birthday party of Stormi, where Kylie was seen incredibly pregnant, it's clear that she is still waiting to give birth, but it looks like it could be any day now. Halfway, number 5, Monica Lewinsky. The scandal involving Bill Clinton and Monica Lewinsky is one of the most shocking of all time, and it's still so interesting to the public that the scandal was outlined in the latest season of American Crime Story titled Impeachment. In 1998, it was exposed that the President of the United States, Bill Clinton, engaged in sexual relations with a White House intern. At the time, multiple other women also came forward to expose his predatory behavior was a pattern. At first, he strongly denied it, but then a woman named Linda Tripp exposed that it was a lie because she had taped Lewinsky talking about her affair with Clinton. After it was exposed that he was a liar and cheater, he was impeached for lying under oath. He was impeached by the House of Representatives but acquitted by the Senate, so he remained in office until his term ended. And at number 4, Michael Jackson. Michael Jackson officially lost it in the eyes of the world in 2002 when he dangled his son over a balcony in Berlin, Germany. People were waiting below and were horrified, thinking that Jackson could drop him. Michael later admitted it was a mistake in doing so, saying he was simply excited. He said in a statement after the incident, quote, "I got caught up in the excitement of the moment. I would never intentionally endanger the lives of my children." However, many did not accept this statement. Michael's close friend at the time, Uri Geller, condemned his actions, saying, quote, "I just would not put any child over a railing at such a height. I think it was a silly thing to do. He probably did it because he was overwhelmed emotionally by the fans." And at number 3, Martha Stewart. The queen of homemaking, Martha Stewart, shocked the world when she was sent to jail for insider trading. In 2002, it was announced that she was being investigated for selling off thousands of shares of a company called Clone Systems, because she learned the stock was going to be dropping drastically and didn't want to lose money in the market. She served 5 months in prison for her crime, but shockingly, her time in the slammer did not affect her career very much. Right after she got out, she was back to work, and now it's safe to say her reputation is completely healed following this incident. And at number 2, Tiger Woods. Golf is generally a game that's pretty boring in terms of scandals. The league of golf is generally very professional, with little to report about other than the results of tournaments. But that all changed when the king of golf, Tiger Woods' private relationship was put on display, and we were all shocked about who he really was behind closed doors. In November of 2009, the National Enquirer exposed that he'd been cheating on his wife with a nightclub hostess. Days later, many other women came forward, and it was reported that he slept with hundreds of women while married. After many years of being blacklisted from golf, Tiger was able to come out on top once again and won the Masters in 2019. Although his reputation has been tainted once again, after reports surfaced that he got in a terrifying car crash. His car went off the road and fell off a cliff, leaving his car flipped. And finally, at number 1, Kanye West interrupted Taylor Swift. Taylor Swift's acceptance speech at the 2009 VMAs is easily one of the most memorable of all time. Kanye West's interruption happened moments after Taylor accepted her award and became the start of a long-running feud that has pitted Taylor and Kanye fans against each other ever since. Kanye felt that Beyonce deserved the award more than Taylor and grabbed the mic from her, saying, quote, "Taylor, I'm really happy for you, I'm gonna let you finish, but Beyonce had one of the best videos of all time. One of the best videos of all time," before being booed off the stage. Taylor was later let back on stage to re-say her speech, but the damage was already done. Tons of celebrities came out on social media to defend Taylor against Kanye's actions.
At number 10, Janet Jackson. The Super Bowl halftime show is one of the biggest televised events of each year in North America. Millions upon millions of people tune in annually to watch the year's biggest and probably most expensive performance. So for the people putting on the show, there is a lot on the line, and the stakes are quite high for whoever is on stage that year. Normally, these performances go pretty well, but there are always memes of the off moments, like Left Shark, for example. But during the 2004 Super Bowl halftime show, viewers watched a serious wardrobe malfunction happen that was life-changing and career-altering to say the least, and it was more serious than just a meme. Janet Jackson and Justin Timberlake were performing together on stage that night when a move went wrong, and Janet's breast ended up getting exposed. Following the televised incident that the media dubbed Nipplegate, the FCC sued CBS for the live mishap in a $550,000 lawsuit, inciting indecent exposure for their cause. Janet Jackson was also put through the ringer for her whole part in the scandal. Even though none of it was really her fault, it was just an accident that obviously wasn't meant to happen. It was then discovered that the whole incident happened because the two performers had added a costume reveal into their performance at the last minute, and though it was rehearsed, the stunt failed at the last minute, resulting in Janet's exposure. As a result of the backlash Janet started receiving, she was uninvited to the Grammy Awards that year, and her songs were blacklisted from the radio. Even the next few albums she released following the incident were met with a lot lot of negativity because of this scandal. It was all just an accident that caused a huge scandal and ended in someone getting cancelled and facing so much hate for no reason. At number 9, Prince. Just a few years after the infamous Nipplegate scandal, the Super Bowl had yet another halftime show controversy when Prince performed. In 2007, he stepped out of the box with his halftime show performance, and though the performance itself was nominated for 2 Emmy Awards, still faced controversy. During the performance, the silhouette of the singer was projected onto a huge flowing cloth that obscured the singer's view. It looked pretty artsy, but soon people came to take offense to what was cast in the shadow that was being created. The scandal erupted when a quote, perceived phallus was cast in the shadow where Prince's body met his guitar. This ended up causing some uproar amongst viewers, and as a result, the network broadcasting the Super Bowl, CBS, got a lot of complaints from those who tuned in to watch the performance. Before we carry on talking about some of the biggest Super Bowl scandals, why not take a moment to leave a like on this video if you're enjoying it so far, and while you're at it, consider subscribing to the channel to see more videos like this one. At number 8, Tim Tebow. One of the biggest parts of the Super Bowl broadcast each year are the ads that run during the show. Advertisers spend millions of dollars to have their ads shown each year, and sometimes these ads can cause quite a lot of controversy. One of the more famous Super Bowl ad scandals comes from the pro-life Tim Tebow ad from the 2010 Super Bowl. The Celebrate Family, Celebrate Life ad starring Tim Tebow and his mother caused quite a lot of uproar as various groups ended up protesting against the so-called advocacy ad. The ad, which was created by a conservative group called Focus on the Family, cost the group's donors $3 million to run during the big game. People thought that an ad of this nature was inappropriate to run during an event like this because it was such a controversial issue. The entire 30-second ad was devoted to Tim Tebow's mom gushing about her miracle baby, and people thought that if there was a political message behind the ad, it was extremely obscured. The whole ordeal was pretty bizarre and very divisive as well, though Tim Tebow did defend the ad, saying that he knew some people wouldn't agree with the ad, but he still went along with it anyway. At number 7, Tom Brady. Now, I can't say that I'm the biggest football fan ever because I barely understand the game. I root for the Miami Dolphins because my uncle told me to, and that's about it. I watch the Super Bowl for the commercials and the halftime show and go on my merry way because that's about the extent of my football attention span. But in 2015, going on your merry way was a little harder to do as the AFC Championship game was also shrouded in scandal that year and all eyes were on Tom Brady. The Deflategate scandal, as it was dubbed by news sources, saw Tom Brady caught in the middle of a huge sporting controversy after it was discovered that the balls that were used for the championship were deflated and that he allegedly knew about this. It was theorized that the balls could have been deflated to help Brady's grip and to make it easier for other players to catch and hold onto the balls. As a result of the scandal, Tom Brady was due to miss the first 4 games of the season. The Patriots were fined $1 million and the team lost 2 draft picks as well. It was bad press for Brady and one of his worst moments. At number 6, Barrett Robbins. Imagine missing the biggest moment of your life or career, the event that would change your life forever. Well, for former Oakland Raiders center Barrett Robbins, that's exactly what happened as he went missing just before his team was set to play in the Super Bowl against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers back in 2003. Robbins ended up being a no-show for the biggest game of his life, leaving his coaches and teammates high and dry leading up to the big game. Barrett was also known to have struggled with his mental health, and it seems as though this was part of the reason why he failed to show up to the Super Bowl match. The football player missed the game after leaving his hotel in San Diego without his wallet and cell phone in order to party in Tijuana, Mexico. After that, he was hospitalized and diagnosed with bipolar disorder. After this incident, things didn't get much better for Barrett as he started using substances to cope with his mental health. He was kicked off the Raiders due to steroid use, and he was sentenced to 5 years in prison for an involvement in a shooting incident in 2005. He certainly had a serious fall from grace after his Super Bowl no-show. At number 5, Ray Lewis. Though this scandal didn't happen during the big game, it did unfold the day after the Super Bowl, and it was very big news. After the 2000 Super Bowl, former Baltimore Ravens linebacker Ray Lewis landed himself into a huge scandal when he and his entourage got into a huge fight in Atlanta that resulted in 2 people losing their lives in a brutal stabbing. The NFL player and his companions were later indicted on multiple violent crime charges. However, the privilege that comes with having fame came through to save Ray Lewis from having to serve time. He was given a deal to have his charges dismissed in exchange for testimony against his friends Reginald Oakley and Joseph Sweeting, both of whom were later acquitted. Luckily for Ray, this scandal didn't totally ruin his career, as following the incident, he was able to go on to win 2 Super Bowl titles and continue into having a career with ESPN. At number 4, Beyonce. Beyonce. Celebrities care a lot about their image. We know this already. They care about looking their best no matter what, but with the efforts to keep their image looking perfect in the eyes of their fans as well as the media, this has been known to cause scandals. We've seen this a lot with celebrities like the Kardashians, who cause minor controversies when their photos are either heavily edited or not edited at all, but another celebrity who's faced a scandal for something similar is Beyonce, and her scandal happened after her Super Bowl halftime show performance in 2013. Though the performance itself went off without a hitch, making headlines for her theatrics and also the long-awaited reunion of Destiny's Child, the aftermath was a little dramatic. People had been uploading photos of the performance online, but some of the images included some unflattering shots of the singer. Because of this, Beyonce's people tried to get those unflattering images removed from digital archives. Some media outlets were understanding and took the images down, but others did not, and as a result, instead of removing the images, publications like BuzzFeed instead publicized the email that was sent out by Beyonce's team, showing the world how ridiculous this whole situation was. At number 3, MIA. Now let's move on to another Super Bowl halftime show scandal. The 2012 Super Bowl halftime show had a lot of big names performing. Artists like Madonna, LMFAO, Nicki Minaj, CeeLo Green, and MIA were performing, and looking back on it now, some people say that this lineup was already a recipe for disaster. People thought that if anything were to go wrong, it would have been Madonna who caused something because of her history causing controversy on stage, like that famous onstage kiss with Britney Spears, but in this case, the scandal fell on singer MIA, who ended up flipping the bird on live TV. This all became a bigger scandal than it needed to be because Madonna spoke out against the singer's actions, blowing things out of proportion, saying that she was appalled by the singer's actions and her disregard for those watching. This scandal died down relatively quickly, but later resurfaced in 2014 when the NFL sued the singer for over $16 million in restitution for her onstage antics. This was a big deal because at first, the NFL was only suing for $1.5 million. The two parties ended up settling out of court, but the details of the settlement are unreleased. At number 2, Christina Aguilera. If you're one of the lucky celebrities who gets to perform at the Super Bowl, all eyes are on you. The Super Bowl is one of the most watched television events of every year, so there's a lot riding on each performance. So imagine with all of that viewership, how embarrassing a mess up would be. Well, this is something that unfortunately Christina Aguilera experienced when she was asked to sing the national anthem at the 2011 Super Bowl. You would think that because she's American, then she wouldn't have a hard time singing the national anthem without any issues, but you would be wrong, because as she was performing, she messed up the lyrics and sang "What So Proudly We Watched" instead of "Or the Ramparts We Watched." In retrospect, it's really not that big of a deal, but when you have millions of eyes on you, that pressure can sometimes get to be a little too much to handle and can cause mistakes to happen. It's not the biggest scandal ever, but lots of people were talking about it and shaming the singer for that simple mistake. And finally, at number 1, Spygate. Now, this scandal was probably one of the biggest Super Bowl scandals ever because it was messy and very dishonest. This scandal from 2007, which was dubbed Spygate, was sparked by allegations that the New York Patriots had illegally videotaped the New York Giants defensive coach's hand signals. The Patriots head coach Bill Belichick was ordered to pay a $500,000 fine as a result. But that's not where it ended. The scandal came back again just 2 days before the Patriots and Giants were set to face off in the Super Bowl that year. A U.S. senator demanded a meeting with the NFL commissioner to discuss what had happened with the two teams. 6 months later, it was revealed that this spying had happened before in 2002 when the Pats had recorded the St. Louis Rams practice playthrough. Now, I can't say that I understand football or football culture, but even I know that's messed up.
Number 10, Will Smith and Margot Robbie. In 2013, Star magazine published a bombshell allegation that Will Smith was caught cheating with his co-star Margot Robbie when they worked together on the movie Focus. The report actually claimed that in photo booth pictures that they found and published on their cover, Will appeared to be shirtless and Margot lifted up her own shirt to reveal her lingerie. The magazine also claimed that after they pulled the curtain back to take the pictures, they were getting very touchy-feely with each other in the dark. The scandal was massive at the time because Will is married to Jada Pinkett Smith, and back then they had yet to admit to having an open relationship. But the rumors soon died down as E! News revealed that the pictures were commissioned by production and that the entire cast and crew saw them being taken. It also came out that Will and Margot are absolutely just friends and there was nothing else going on between them. Even Margot was quick to deny everything on Twitter. Quote, Quote, "There's absolutely no truth to the ridiculous rumor. It's disappointing that goofing around on set could be taken so out of context." Well, people do tend to jump to conclusions. Number 9. Dominic West and Lily James. The actors were at the height of scandal when they were photographed getting cozy in Rome, all while filming their new series The Pursuit of Love in 2020. The pictures show the stars kissing, sitting at a cafe, standing on the Spanish steps, and riding tandem on a scooter, looking very much to be on a date. Although Lily was single at the time, Dominic has been married to Catherine Fitzgerald for 10 years, and they have 4 children together. A source told The Sun that when Catherine saw the pictures, she was devastated and tried to get a hold of her husband, but he wasn't answering his phone. She was reportedly shocked by the whole thing because she didn't realize anything was going on. But only a few days later, there was a photo taken out the front of the couple's home with a note saying, "Our marriage is strong and we're very much still together. Thank you." Since the incident, James has kept quiet and cancelled various interviews to promote her latest film, Rebecca, which is probably a good decision considering the fact that both parties have not yet publicly talked about their affair since it occurred. Number 8. Chad Michael Murray and Paris Hilton. In 2003, Chad Michael Murray and Sophia Bush fell in love while filming the TV series One Tree Hill. 2 years later, they were married. However, they separated just 5 months later when rumors swirled that Chad had cheated on his wife with Paris Hilton, his co-star on the film House of Wax. During the time he and Paris both worked on the horror film together, they reportedly had an affair, according to Backstreet Boy Nick Carter, who was dating Paris at the time. But after separating, Chad and Sophia still had to keep working together for another 3 years on One Tree Hill. If that's not awkward, I don't know what is. It wasn't until 2011 that the actor decided to rethink the way in which he was living his whole life. Quote, "When you're young and you're thrown into something that I was definitely not ready for, I'm human and I screw up." But his ex-wife definitely took the whole affair much harder, and it's clear that his actions really affected her in the long term. In 2017, she wrote in Cosmopolitan that the scandal was a massive event in her life and the trauma of it was amplified by how public it became. She has also said that she feels the marriage was a joke and it did nothing but reduce her to a Hollywood statistic. Ouch. Number 7. Brad Pitt and Angelina Jolie. Jen and Brad got married in 2000 in a lavish Malibu wedding, and things were perfect for the Hollywood it couple until they suddenly announced their divorce in 2005. What happened exactly? Well, long story short is, Brad met Angelina for the first time on the set of Mr. and Mrs. Smith, and the rest is history. Apparently the movie was filled with so much romantic tension, it was impossible for the two stars not to fall for each other. I mean, Mr. and Mrs. Smith is probably the sexiest spy movie to ever exist, so it's easy to see how everything went down. But the problem was that Brad was still married to Jen. But he didn't let that stop him, and they allegedly still got together despite his marriage. To add insult to injury, he said about his marriage to Jen, quote, "I was trying to pretend the marriage was something that it wasn't. I'm satisfied with making true choices and finding the woman I love, Angie, and building a family that I love so much." That sounds pretty harsh, but it turned out that Brad and Angelina's relationship wasn't just a fling, and they actually went on to date for many years and had a large family before finally getting married in 2014. The love triangle was one of the biggest celebrity scandals of the early 2000s, and it still dominates the tabloids to this day. Number 6. Harrison Ford and Carrie Fisher. The actress and writer Carrie Fisher was never one to hold back when she had something to say, and in 2016 she shared a fascinating piece of history in her own memoir called The Princess Diarist. According to Carrie, she had a brief but very intense affair with her Star Wars co-star Harrison Ford while they were filming the movie in 1976. But what's really quite troubling is that People magazine reported that she was just 19 years old when the 3-month affair took place, while Harrison was 36 years old and married to his wife of 15 years, Mary Marquardt. To make matters worse, the couple also shared 2 kids together. In terms of sneaking around, Carrie actually said, quote, "It was Han and Leia during the week and Carrie and Harrison during the weekend." She also explained to The Guardian that the affair between them had eventually come down to unreciprocated love. She said that she'll always feel something for him. The Star Wars actress was so young at the time that they got together, and although she must have known it was wrong, it's hard to say that the blame rests completely on her. What's even sadder is that after Carrie died in 2016, Harrison never fully confessed to the affair, probably more out of shame for cheating on his wife. Number 5. Ewan McGregor and Mary Elizabeth Winstead. The co-stars brought their on-screen romance into the real world after working together on the FX series Fargo. The pair appeared on season 3 of the anthology psychology crime drama, which debuted in April of 2017. Only a month later, the actress announced on social media that she had split from her husband of 7 years, Riley Stearns. Following her separation, Winstead was spotted on a date, hooking up with McGregor in London, and cheating rumors were flying because although she was single, he was very much not. The train-spotting actor was still married to Eve Mavrakis at the time, with whom he shares 4 children. After the Emmy winner was spotted getting cozy with Winstead, fans began to wonder about the status of his marriage, but it wasn't until January of 2018 that his now ex-wife filed for divorce. But while the two managed to keep their romance relatively private, their relationship raised eyebrows even among their family members. In fact, in August of 2018, McGregor's daughter Clara had some strong feelings on the new relationship at the time. She took to Instagram to comment on a Mary Elizabeth Winstead fan page, quote, "Most beautiful and talented woman on earth? Oh man, y'all are delusional. This girl is a piece of trash." Wow. Number 4. Tom Cruise and Nicole Kidman. Although it's been over for decades, Nicole Kidman's marriage to Tom Cruise is still one of Hollywood's most talked about relationships. Cruise met Nicole Kidman on the set of the movie Days of Thunder, and the pair were instantly smitten with one another, and they soon started engaging in a torrid love affair. But at the time of meeting, you guessed it, the Top Gun actor was still married to Mimi Rogers, whom he wed in 1987. As it became clear that the affair was more than just a simple fling, Tom divorced his first wife in February of 1990, and less than 1 year later, he exchanged vows with Nicole in December of 1990. They even adopted 2 children, Isabella Jane and Connor Anthony, and eventually went on to make 2 more movies together as a couple. But as we all know, their marriage was far from perfect, and they ended up splitting a decade later in 2001. Looking back on the divorce, Nicole said, quote, "It took me a very long time to heal. It was a shock to my system. We were in a bubble, just the 2 of us. We became very dependent on one another." Number 3. Billy Crudup and Claire Danes. The massive scandal started in late 2003. Billy and his girlfriend of 8 years, Mary Louise Parker, who at the time was about 7 months pregnant with his son, broke up. The New York Post reported that the actor had moved on with his stage beauty co-star Claire Danes, who was only 24 at the time. In the summer of that year, the former co-stars had been spotted getting cozy all over New York City, and even had a very cute looking courtside date filled with PDA. But Billy wasn't the only cheater in that situation, as Claire also ended up breaking the heart of her longtime boyfriend Ben Lee to be with the actor. Their love affair didn't last long, however, and it's clear that all the heartbreak wasn't even worth it, because they ended up splitting up just 3 years later. Naturally, the ultra-private couple didn't discuss the reason behind their breakup, but the tabloids were happy to do so for them. Several magazines even claimed that Danes had left Billy for Hugh Dancy, but we'll never really know what happened. Years later, Claire said, quote, "I was just in love with him and needed to explore that. I was 24, I didn't quite know what those consequences would be." Number 2. Morena Baccarin and Ben McKenzie. The Homeland actress furiously denied rumors that she had been cheating on her husband at the time, Austin Chick. But when she got pregnant by her Gotham co-star Ben McKenzie, there was very little she could do to cover it up. And just like that, the cheating rumors were confirmed. Although the actress tried to shut down the allegations, according to a TMZ report, the divorce papers filed in 2015 by Austin show that he claimed that he was still sharing a bed with Morena when she conceived Mackenzie's baby. She did get a happy ending though, and eventually gave birth to Mackenzie's daughter Frances in March of 2016, just 2 weeks before her divorce from Austin was finalized, and went on to marry Mackenzie in June the following year. But did she at least feel a little bad for sleeping with her co-star while she was married? Well, not really. In fact, she told People magazine that working with him on Gotham was wonderful. Quote, "Ben's the sweetest. It's very nice to work with your significant other, especially when you're pregnant, because you know you'll get some extra TLC and get taken care of." I mean, yeah, I guess that sounds nice if you can ignore the question of how they met. Number 1. John Malkovich and Michelle Pfeiffer. The legendary actor John Malkovich caused intense scandal both on and off the screen when it came to filming 1998's Dangerous Liaisons with his co-star Michelle Pfeiffer. At the time, the actor had been married to actress Glenn Headley for 6 years, but that completely fell apart in the midst of his affair with Michelle. Interestingly enough, even the film's director, Stephen Frears, said, Quote, Dangerous Liaisons is about betrayal and lies and relationships unraveling. It was one of those times where reality and art intersect. It was overwhelming to John. Even for a man who delights in bad behavior, that was a difficult time. Not to mention the fact that John's older brother, Danny, told Entertainment Weekly in 1993 that when the actor came home with Michelle, that was the happiest that he had ever seen him. But even though John and his ex-wife got divorced in 1988, the affair didn't last long either, and they reportedly broke up not long after. But apparently Malkovich took the breakup very hard and reportedly cried for a whole year. The two of them must have really had something special, because he told The Guardian in 2008, quote, It's hard to believe Michelle Pfeiffer ever said hello to me. I mean, if you can forget about the fact that he cheated on his wife, it's still romantic the way he talks about Michelle.
At number 10, Lil Nas X. This year, Lil Nas X made a lot of headlines. He released a new album, rocked red carpets, but also got himself into quite the scandal as well. On March 26, 2021, Lil Nas X released his song Montero, or Call Me By Your Name, and both the song and subsequent music video was hit with a lot of backlash. The song included some adult themes, as it would, but the majority of the backlash for this release came from the rapper's music video. The video had a heaven and hell theme and included Nas dancing for the devil, so to speak. You know what I mean. A lot of people didn't like the video because of how raunchy it was and because of the biblical imagery and themes. But as if that wasn't enough backlash, Nas also got himself into some pretty big trouble when he released a collaborative shoe with Mischief that they called the Satan shoe. These sneakers were a redesign of the Nike Air Max 97s, and because this design wasn't authorized by Nike, Nas and Mischief got in trouble. They also faced backlash for putting a quote, single drop of human blood in the sole of the shoe. For a couple of weeks, Nas faced all kinds of backlash, but he didn't let that knock him down. He remained pretty unfazed by the whole thing and bounced back from the scandal with no problem, but for a couple of weeks there, he became Twitter's public enemy number 1. At number 9, David Dobrik. YouTuber and former Viner David Dobrik is one of YouTube's biggest creators, but this year he got royally cancelled. Other than being super popular on the platform with over 18 million subscribers, he's also found success in Hollywood as well, since he's been cast on TV shows as a host and judge on a few game shows. However, this year David's popularity started to fall and his praise turned into scrutiny as people started to come forward with allegations of and bullying against David. Former members of David's YouTube friend group called the Vlog Squad came forward calling David out for bullying and creating a toxic environment, as well as orchestrating pranks that resulted in one friend getting hurt. On top of that, a former fan came forward naming a Vlog Squad member as the person who hurt them while they were under the influence, and also called David out for filming part of their alleged. Because of David's content, he caused a lot of controversy, emotional pain, and distress, and he's only recently bounced back from the drama he faced earlier this year. Before we carry on reflecting on this year's past scandals, why not leave a like on this video if you're enjoying it so far, and while you're at it, maybe consider smashing that subscribe button as well to see more videos like this one. At number 8, Armie Hammer. I'm sure you guys are all familiar with this scandal by now, but this one has to be on the list because it was the first one that really blew up this year and it kicked off the celebrity scandals of 2021. Back in January, some of Armie's private messages with other women came to light, depicting the actor in a not so flattering way. The messages leaked by the Instagram page House of Effie exposed the actor for his bedroom fantasies, among other adult things, and this created a snowball effect that led to multiple people coming forward with their own allegations of misconduct against the actor. Things took a serious turn and soon an investigation was launched to look into some of the claims made by some of Armie's alleged victims. Because of the scandal and its severity, this took a huge toll on Armie and his career. As we know, no one is quick to forget a scandal like this one in Hollywood, so as a result of the drama and allegations against him, Armie started losing everything he worked for, including movie roles and representation in the industry. No one knows what the next step is for him, or even if there is a next step for him to take. At number 7, Marilyn Manson. Another really huge scandal that happened this year came from singer Marilyn Manson, and it caused a lot of drama in Hollywood and the music industry. It all started when his ex-partner, actress Evan Rachel Wood, came forward with an Instagram post calling out Manson as someone who had harmed her for a long time. In her statement, Evan cited how manipulative Marilyn was, accusing him of brainwashing her and telling her fans about how Manson had caused her so much mental, physical, and emotional pain. This caused even more people to come forward later on, including Game of Thrones actress Esme Bianco, who came forward with some of the horrible encounters that she had with Manson. Following this scandal, Manson was dropped from his music label, and the LA County Sheriff's Department began an investigation looking into some of the allegations against the singer. At number 6, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. This year, the annual Met Gala came back after being skipped last year due to the pandemic. We knew that something dramatic was bound to happen, but no one expected that it would come from Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. AOC showed up to the event this year wearing a white dress that had the words "Tax the Rich" written in red on the back. It was designed to be a political statement about the ongoing debate on whether the wealthiest people should be paying taxes like the rest of us, but instead of sparking a conversation about it, people instead started calling AOC a hypocrite for trying to make this statement at an event that is attended by Hollywood elites who pay 30 grand for a ticket. This became a hot topic on social media and in the news, but AOC didn't really face too much heat for it. It just made a lot of people mad, but hey, it did get people talking, right? At number 5, DaBaby. This year, rapper DaBaby became one of the latest celebrities to be cancelled. He got into quite the controversy after he said some pretty offensive things while on stage performing at Rolling Loud in Miami. While on stage, the rapper made offensive comments about the gay community as well as HIV and AIDS, calling it a quote, "deadly sexually transmitted disease that'll make you die in 2-3 weeks." He also went on to say some more homophobic things about gay men that also added fuel to the fire. Celebrities like Dua Lipa and Elton John condemned the rapper's comments and tried to take the rapper's cancellation as an opportunity to educate the public on what DaBaby said, how it was wrong, and also put an effort into trying to educate the public specifically on HIV and AIDS to put the stigma spread by DaBaby's comments to rest. Because of this scandal, the rapper got into some real hot water with the LGBTQ+ community and lost a lot of support as well. At number 4, Meghan Markle and Prince Harry. Earlier this year, Meghan Markle and Prince Harry sat down for an exclusive interview with Oprah where they went in depth about their split from the royal family, as well as their feelings of having been part of it. A lot of information was shared as they opened up a lot about their life, and it ended up causing quite the controversy. The couple spoke a lot about their perspective of life in the royal family, raising their son, their marriage, and they also spoke out about their mental health. Meghan even opened up saying that there was a time where she wanted to take her own life. Her confession about having those thoughts ended up causing quite a controversy as people started questioning her mental health and whether that statement was actually true or not. The biggest debate on this topic came from TV presenter Piers Morgan, and he had a lot to say about Meghan and the interview. So much so that he ended up losing his job because he went overboard with the criticisms and hate, and the backlash he started to face made it difficult to continue. This interview was just supposed to be an exclusive interview to check in on the royal couple after they left the royal family, but because of all the information that was shared that day, it blew up into a huge scandal that was in the news for weeks. At number 3, Dr. Phil. Earlier this year, Dr. Phil was exposed and cancelled following rapper Bad Baby's YouTube video where she spoke out about the treatment that she experienced from a youth reform camp that she was sent to after her time on Dr. Phil's show. The rapper, whose real name is Danielle Bregoli, posted a video to her YouTube channel where she opened up about what she experienced, detailing how staff at the camp called Turnabout Ranch treated her and other kids. In the video, she shared how she was taken from her home in the middle of the night, handcuffed, and wasn't allowed to sleep or shower for 3 days. She also told her viewers that staff used restraints on people and that some people had also claimed to have been assaulted while there. Danielle exposed Dr. Phil because he was the one who recommended this camp and has been doing so for such a long time. People were absolutely furious with Dr. Phil because he condoned such a horrific place, and he was cancelled for it. Danielle demanded that Dr. Phil apologize for his actions and for supporting Turnabout Ranch. People find it hard to believe that he had no prior knowledge of what was going on at the ranch, and so when he faced backlash for it all, people said that this was all his own fault. At number 2, Jessie Nelson. On October 8th this year, former Little Mix member Jessie Nelson released her music video for her song Boys featuring Nicki Minaj. After the video dropped, backlash ensued as viewers immediately started speculating on whether or not Jessie was deliberately trying to portray herself as a black woman for the content, and people started calling her out for blackfishing. Blackfishing is a term given when a non-black person alters their appearance to resemble someone who is black or mixed by playing off black aesthetics and styles. In the Boys music video, fans pointed out that Jessie was using a lot of black-centric aesthetics, most noticeably a darker tan. But with this blackfishing controversy came more drama as people started looking into into Jessie's past with Little Mix. Soon one of the girl group's members came forward saying that she had actually warned Jessie about blackfishing and how it's wrong, but Jessie still did it anyway, and even went so far as to claim that no one ever commented on it until this video came out. It made a lot of people see how messy this girl group was and had people speculating what really went down when Jessie left the group. And finally, at number 1, Britney Spears. Probably the biggest scandal to come out this year was the Free Britney movement and the drama surrounding her conservatorship. After the Free Britney documentary was released months ago, people got to really see what Britney's life was like behind the scenes and how the people around her led her to where she is today. The biggest concern with this movement was regarding her conservatorship, as the public learned what the singer can and cannot do. Many people said that this hold on her life was too extreme and there was a battle to get her out of the conservatorship held by her father Jamie. Luckily, after multiple court cases, testimonies, family drama, as well as media coverage and social media support, Britney's father petitioned to end his daughter's conservatorship and he was suspended from her conservatorship as well. Now Britney is engaged and has more freedom than she has in a while.